Do you know who's no longer worth being kind to, even if you were raised to treat everyone with kindness? There comes a stage in life when our time, our energy, and our peace are no longer resources we can give away without limit. After 60, all of these become far too valuable to hand out to just anyone who happens to want a piece of your attention. As the years go by, we learn that being kind isn't always a generous act. Sometimes it's a trap. There are people who feed off your patience, your goodwill, even your silence. And the more you allow them into your life, the more they drain from you, as if they're slowly taking pieces of you day by day. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 types of people you need to stop being kind to in your mature years. And the most surprising part, they're not distant strangers. Most of the time, they're very close. They could be family members, neighbors, or even longtime friends. If you're not paying attention, these people's behaviors can quietly drain your energy in deep ways, and you only realize it once you're already exhausted. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly who deserves your attention and who's just stealing your peace. You'll learn how to spot these patterns, why they wear you down so much, and most importantly, how to protect your emotional health without guilt or regret. Because the years ahead of you are not meant for fixing others. They are for preserving what you've spent a lifetime building, your inner peace. Shall we begin? Number 1, the constant taker. One of the clearest signs that someone no longer deserves your kindness is when they only show up with their hand out. You know the type, those people who never call just to chat, laugh, or see how you're doing. When they reach out, it's always because they need something, a favor, a ride, your time, even when you barely have any to spare. And the most surprising part, they always seem to need something. Think of Donna Gloria, 71 years old. She was always the dependable one in the family. Need a last-minute babysitter? Call Gloria. Going out of town and don't know who'll take care of the dog? Guess who? Gloria never said no, but over time she began to notice something painful. On her own birthday, the phone didn't ring. When she got sick and spent days in bed, no one showed up with soup or even sent a message. That's when it hit her. Those relationships weren't based on mutual care. She was always giving but never receiving. There's a quiet guilt we carry when we think about pulling away from people like this, especially if they're family. We convince ourselves that being needed is a good thing, that saying no is selfish, and maybe, just maybe, next time they'll appreciate how much we do. But here's an important truth. If someone only comes to you when they need something, they don't truly value you. To them, you're not a person, you're a service. And the longer this continues, the more dangerous it becomes, because your resources, your time, your energy, your physical strength become more limited with age. Continuing to give all of that to someone who only takes is like pouring water into a glass with a hole in the bottom. You drain yourself and get nothing back. You have the right to say no, Dane, without explanation. You have the right to set boundaries. You have the right to protect the little energy and peace you still have for the people who truly care about you. And if someone walks away just because you stopped saying yes every time, that tells you everything you need to know. They never truly loved you. They only loved your convenience. Don't let your kindness become a burden. Don't let your generosity become a chain, because at this stage in life, every moment you give should also be a moment that makes you stronger, not emptier. Number 2, the chronic critic. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from the body, it comes from the soul. It's the kind of weariness that appears when we spend too much time around someone who's always pointing out flaws. In your clothes, in your choices, in your past, these people don't shout. They don't curse. But even so, their words hurt, because they come disguised as concern, spoken in small doses, repeatedly. And over time, they start to eat away at you from the inside. Imagine Mr. Raimundo, 82 years old. Every Sunday, he visits his cousin. He brings fresh bread, checks on the house, tries to keep the family bond alive. But during every visit, the cousin has something to criticize. Your hair looks different, huh? Why did you get rid of that chair? You take things too seriously. At first, Raimundo smiled, thinking it was just his cousin's way, but after years of hearing the same disguised criticisms, he began to feel smaller. He started to doubt his own choices. And that joy he used to feel when going out to the porch, it just faded away. The problem with constant criticism doesn't lie in the words themselves. It's in the silent damage they cause. It's like emotional rust, spreading slowly without us noticing. These people say they're just being honest, that they're trying to help you improve. But deep down, what they're doing is undermining your confidence, your joy, your peace, one comment at a time. And when we let it slide, something inside us begins to shrink. We stop sharing, stop trying new things. We start mentally preparing before every conversation, already anticipating what the next criticism will be. But listen closely. After 60, you have the right, the duty, to feel good in your own skin. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to please anyone. You don't have to explain why you like what you like or live the way you live. If someone always makes you feel wrong, small, or inadequate, you owe it to yourself to remove that person from the front row of your life. Being kind does not mean being available for abuse, even when it comes wrapped in polite words. And sometimes, the most loving act you can do for yourself is to take a step back and say, with firmness and care, enough. I'm tired of letting you rewrite my story with your voice. If you've made it this far and find these reflections meaningful, comment number 2 down below, just so I know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take a moment to do so and hit the bell. That helps us keep bringing you content that informs, supports, and inspires you to take care of what matters most, your peace of mind. Shall we keep going? Number 3, the guilty one. There's a kind of emotional weight that's hard to explain, but you feel it strongly when you're around someone who knows exactly how to twist a situation to make you feel like the villain in the story. These people don't yell, they don't argue. They just give you a certain look or say half a dozen carefully chosen words. And suddenly, you start questioning yourself. Did I do enough? Am I a good person? Did I let them down? That's guilt, in disguise, sneaky, silent, and extremely draining. And the more the years go by, the harder it gets to maintain this kind of relationship. Take Mrs. Margarita, 79 years old. She lives alone, but makes a point of staying present in the family's life. Still, the only time her niece calls is to ask for a favor. And when Margarita, even with all the love in the world, says no, what does she get in return? Silence, or worse, a passive-aggressive comment like, "Oh, I thought I could count on family." Mrs. Margarita isn't saying no out of spite. She's tired. She's trying to protect the little energy she has left, but guilt doesn't care about that. It settles in, cozies up next to her head, and whispers during the night, "Maybe you're being selfish." The hardest thing about this kind of person is that they know how to use your best qualities against you. Your empathy, your kindness, your sense of responsibility. They make you feel cruel just for trying to protect yourself, but in truth, walking away might be the only way to survive emotionally, and little by little, that manipulation becomes a habit. Before you know it, you're constantly apologizing, over-explaining, giving more than you want to, just to avoid that cold treatment that always comes when you try to set a boundary. But here's the truth. You don't owe your peace to anyone. You don't have to justify every no. You're not obligated to sacrifice your well-being just to gain someone's temporary approval. If someone can only love you when you're bending over backward to please them, that's not love. That's emotional blackmail. And you are not a tool in anyone's hands. You're not here to fix other people's emotional wounds, especially when that comes at the cost of your own mental health. Just because you're older and, theoretically, have more time, doesn't mean your heart is a doormat. Guilt should never be the price you pay for taking care of yourself. So the next time someone tries to make you feel guilty just because you set a clear boundary, let that moment be your sign, not to give in but to step even further away. Because peace is not something you ask for. It's something you protect. Number 4, the secret competitor. Not every enemy shows up as one. Some come smiling, say kind words, and even pretend they're rooting for you. But behind the nice talk, there's a silent competition. These are the secret competitors. People who don't just want to grow, they want to make sure you don't shine too brightly. Take the case of Mrs. Helena, 76 years old. After years of putting her creativity aside, she finally signed up for a local art class. She was nervous but happy to rediscover something she loved. Her longtime friend, Judith, decided to join. She said she wanted to support her, but week after week, subtle comments began to appear. "That piece is quite bold, hun, for your age. I like how yours looks carefree. Technique isn't everything, right?" On the surface, everything seemed friendly. But inside, those remarks started to chip away at Helena's confidence, and she began to wonder, do I belong here? The secret competitor doesn't attack directly. They use comparisons like a sharp knife. There's always a more impressive story, a bigger compliment from someone you both know, a tone of superiority disguised as friendship. And over time, you stop sharing your wins. You stop shining for fear of bothering someone. And that's not friendship. That's rivalry disguised as companionship. In your later years, you don't need to compete with anyone anymore. You've already been through so much, built an entire life. You no longer need to waste energy on comparisons that only make you feel smaller. If someone around you only claps when they're ahead of you, walk away. You deserve to be around people who warm the room, not those who make it colder. True friends celebrate your victories, inspire you to keep going. They don't make you question why you started in the first place. Number 5. The passive-aggressive manipulator. Some people don't raise their voice, they don't argue, they don't confront. They manipulate through silence, through little jokes and comments that leave you wondering whether you misunderstood or were actually offended. These are the passive-aggressives, and they can be especially harmful in later life because this kind of behavior often goes unnoticed, but slowly wears you down from the inside. Take Mr. Haroldo, 83 years old. He's lived in the same neighborhood for decades. His neighbor, Douglas, is always smiling and waving. But when Haroldo mentions he needs help moving a plant pot, the response is something like, "Wow, slowing down, huh? I'd help, but both my knees still work, and I'd like to keep them that way." It's a joke, but it's not. And Haroldo just stands there, not sure if he was rejected or ridiculed. The passive-aggressive doesn't tell you how they really feel. They cancel plans without explanation, ignore messages, and when you try to bring it up, they flip it around. They say you're too sensitive, that you're overreacting. Over time, you start walking on eggshells. And then, out of fear of conflict, you end up silencing your own needs just to maintain a peace that in truth never existed. But at this stage of life, peace is not a luxury. It's a necessity. And anyone who disturbs that peace with emotional games doesn't deserve to be so close to you. You don't need to explain everything or teach someone how to respect you. Sometimes, all you need to do is step away and reclaim the silence they insisted on disrupting, because a smile without sincerity is just a mask, and you've lived too much to accept falseness as company. Let your next chapters be written alongside people who say what they feel and feel what they say. Now that you've heard about these 5 types of people, the constant taker, the chronic critic, the guilt tripper, the secret competitor, and the passive-aggressive, take a moment to look at your life with care. Is someone like this too close to you? Have you been giving your time, your patience, your energy to someone who only knows how to take? Have you turned your generosity into an obligation? The truth is, the more time passes, the more precious your peace becomes. You've already forgiven more than you should have. You've stayed silent to avoid conflicts that weren't even yours, but you don't have to keep doing that. These years you're living now aren't meant for tolerating toxic patterns. They're meant for removing what hurts. You have the right to choose who enters your home, your heart, your phone. Being kind doesn't mean being available to those who drain you. It means practicing compassion with boundaries, affection with wisdom. And if that means distancing yourself from someone who's been in your life for years, so be it. Because sometimes the greatest act of love is the one you offer yourself, by finally saying, enough. If any part of this message spoke to you, don't let it slip away. Leave a comment below, share what you've learned and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your comment matters to us, and might be the relief someone else needs to read. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs, comforts, and inspires. Thank you for being here, and see you in the next video. Health and vigor to heal any pain.